David, after you have a week to get ready for this game and to continue answering questions about it from us, you have a matinee tip. What is your kind of routine wake up to now for this game?
I didn't have one, so just came in, did the normal thing I would do before. But I think for all of us, the 1:30 tip for us and them is a weird time to play. But the good thing about it is you just get to play them, as opposed to waiting all day to compete. So just excited to get the thing going. You're right, it's too many days. You tend to overthink things when you have so much time on your hands before you play a game this big. So just excited to get the tip and see what we can do.
Dude, things tend to slow down in the playoffs. One of the few weaknesses on this Clippers team is they're actually bottom half in transition defense, even during the Kawhi stretch. You guys push pace all year. How do you kind of balance how playoffs typically go in terms of transition with attacking them in that way?
Yeah, as long as we're clean. You know, it's I think we have to push the pace. It's how we've played. We're very lucky to have a center and a power forward that can rebound and push. It allows your smalls to get out and run. You don't have to, it's not one outlet pass to then advance the ball to the sideline. We can actually just go. But if you're going to do that, you got to get stops, and you got a defensive rebound at a high level. We've had issues with that this year sometimes. It's been a focus this week, but you got to go do it. You can talk about it and say we got to get better at this to excel, but you actually have to go physically engage and accomplish it, and that allows you to run and do things we've done well all season long.
David, how's Jamal looked to you recently? I know he had a hamstring that he came back from, and this time of year is really when he has shined. Is he in physical condition to do that right now?
I've been asking him how he feels, and the joke's been great. So that's the only thing I can say is he's great. He looks great. I feel great about him looking great. No, he's, you know what he is. I mean, you've been around him all these years. There's a different kind of focus. Not that he's focused during the regular season, but I just think the higher the tension, the better off he is. We know it's going to be a challenge, all the guys that can throw on him. So we have to help him out, but I'm expecting a high level of play from Jamal.
Turnover's been a big thing for you guys for most of the year, yet in these last 3 games, this winning streak, the numbers have been way down. I think averaging around 9. What has been the key to that, and how important is that for this series if you go beyond?
Extremely important, and I think the turnovers are down because we're just shooting the ball. I really mean that, and it sounds boring, but if you create a great shot, shoot it. Don't drive it back into Kawhi Leonard. Don't drive it back into last year in the playoffs, Rudy Gobert. There's nothing there. So, if we're clean and we play through our best players and they create shots through other people, shoot them. And that allows us to have defensive balance. It allows us to get back and, really look at our game plan to see if it's working. Because you're right, we can't kick the ball around in this series and win it. We won't win the series. So we've got to be clean. Shots to the rim doesn't mean you're going to score a ton. It just means you give yourself a chance to get back and load up. So that's a key for us is confidence. On the weak side of the floor, if we do something correct and we create great offensive shots, shoot them. And I'll live with the result. That doesn't mean we can't play through Nikola, because we will, and Jamal. But I'm expecting this guys to be confident when we create good looks for them.
Hey David, long running at The Athletic. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
When you look at the fact that you got elevated to this position that you're in, I think it's easy to say, all right, you've been with this team, but how the coaching staff, with that change, how they continue to support you and even elevated their support for you since you took your spot?
Yeah, these days have been important to us. I didn't think we had enough time last week to really delegate how we were going to do this. We were just kind of doing it on the fly. And I didn't know how I would be in practice, kind of commanding the whole thing on both sides of the ball and what that would feel like. And then once I think I got a flow, the other guys kind of just fit in to the flow of what I was doing. Because you really don't know, you're right. We didn't have training camp. We didn't have time to sit down as a staff and find a good rhythm. But I think we found it this week. And that's important going into this game to feel good about the minute 10 timeout. Who's talking to who and why? Who's talking to the players? What's our first adjustment? What timeout play do I want to go to? Someone give me a good reminder of that. So all that stuff's important. Like you said at the start there, though, it's nice to know each other for all these years and been through the battles, win a championship together, lose some tough games, lose Game 7 last year. So we've been through a lot. So not just the players reacting to what's new, the whole staff taking a step up, not just me. But I feel extremely confident and comfortable with the guys that are around me, and I think that'll show in the game today.
The defensive or lack of defensive intensity and consistency has kind of been a theme throughout the year for this team. and there's that kind of joke, deadline spur action. Can the consequence of the playoffs and what that brings, bring this team back to where they were defensively, the expectation of what they could be defensively when you enter the season?
I mean, I think you geek up in the playoffs more. I also think some of our defensive struggles is we're a lot older. I mean, people never want to admit that, but 82 games is a long time, and Aaron Gordon's is a big man. Nicole's a big man. Jamal's gone through a lot injury-wise, so I never thought it was lack of effort. I thought it was the grind of the season. And I thought there were stretches where our offense was so efficient, crazy efficient, almost to the point we almost broke the record for assists per game. We almost broke the Showtime Lakers record for assists per game. That's crazy. So there were times during the season where I think there was a feeling of, what's the difference if we win 128-118 as opposed to, hey, everybody, look how hard we're playing, we won 108-98. So that's not an excuse. That's just, a team changing over time. But you're exactly right. We have to lock in much better than we did throughout the season. We did have good stretches, in important months where I thought the defense was a lot better. I thought the last 3 games, the energy was much better. So you're hoping that seeps into this, because if it's not, we're in trouble.
Coach, what have you told your guys about guarding Harden without fouling?
It's hard. He is we call it foul artist. I mean, even the way he shoots the ball in a way is contorting his body to get fouled, and he can still be successful in making shots. So we've challenged the guys. We've drilled it throughout the week, how to defend in the right way. You're going to foul him from time to time. I mean, if you don't, it means you're not being aggressive enough to get near his body. But you got to be disciplined. It's that fine line between being physical early and high IQ late. And not just with him, but with Norman going right and Kawhi going right and the pump fakes and all that stuff. So that's going to be a big key, because if they control the free throw line, they control the pace of the game. And I think you brought up earlier, the transition offense, all that stuff. You can't have that. They're standing there shooting free throws. So we got to be disciplined. But like I said, not soft, physical and disciplined. If we can do that, I think that'll help us get out and run.
Coach, how'd you sleep last night?
Well, yeah, I slept well. Watch X-Files with my kids. They're really into that right now. We're almost at the end of season 1. Yeah, I forgot how absolutely ridiculous that show is. Really entertaining, and also, high praise for Duchovny and Jaylen Anderson. I forgot what they bring to the table. And the guy did Californication too, so let's give him his flowers too. So no, I had a relaxing night. It was definitely on my mind, but it's impossible not to think about it. But you gotta, this is basketball, and I got a family, and you chill with them, and here we go.
You talked about kind of the regular season challenges defensively with the older guys. You've got a younger guy in Christian who has been taking on a lot of difficult matchups this year. What are you looking for from him defensively in this spot, in this series with the kind of isolation threats that the Clippers have?
Christian doesn't feel young to me. High school champion, college championship, NBA championship, starting 2 guard for the Denver Nuggets. My concern is I hope he gets the respect he deserves, that they allow him to play the way that everybody else is going to play in this series. And if they do, he will be a high impact player on the defensive end. And on the offensive end, his ability to handle the ball now, initiate offense, allows us to do a lot more with Jamal off the ball, as opposed to, I think a lot last year was on Jamal's shoulders. Hey, bring the ball off the floor against pressure, get yourself open, make shots, make the right pass. Oh yeah, guard your guy on the other end. It's a lot to put on one person. So Christian's variety of who he is as a basketball player is so enhanced the last couple years. So expecting big things from a guy that is a high-level starting NBA player on a top 4 Western Conference team.
Last one, Benny. David, another defensive question. What have you seen from Jaylen over the course of the season that gives you confidence that he can hold up in this scenario?
Yeah, Jaylen, for his size, he actually is really sturdy. He doesn't get back down. He really has a low base. High IQ, weak side defender. So Jaylen, first playoff for him, really playing. So I'm sure he'll go through some growing pains, but I've seen teams go at him, the last couple months, and I haven't seen a lot of success going that way. James is different with his size and Kawhi backing you down, but yeah, I think Jaylen is going to hold his own, and he has a really good way about him right now. Throughout the week of practice, I didn't sense anxiety, which is a great sign. I didn't sense an overload of work. I got to do more. He stayed in his routine, stayed in his lane, and that's what you got to do going into this. Be yourself. Be the best version of yourself, and if you do that, you'll be successful.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, guys.